Today we are finally going over a book that I've been fighting at the bit to go over for a while. This is Amazing Spider-Man issue 252. The importance of this book is, yes, Secret Wars, what is it, issue 8, is the first appearance of the Venom symbiote. Hence why it's a big key deal in the Marvel mythos. However, this book is just as important because even though you could call it a second appearance, well, not real second appearance because it's Secret Wars, but this is the first appearance of the black suit in the main Spider-Man title. Hence why it says, the rumors are true, introducing the new Spider-Man. However, we are not going to go over my original copy because I do not want to take it out of the plastic. So thankfully, there for a while, I don't know if they're still kind of doing it, but a lot of these comic companies are releasing these very nice looking foil covers of reprints. So we will be going over the foil print, which I think, the original one says 60 cents. And just because goodness forbid, this is a foil cover, $5. But for $5, at least you're getting the original story, and I believe the ads as well. And then when you open it up, well, what's the verdict? And I just love this kind of splash page of the Daily Bugle. And what's interesting about it is we're not really getting a lot of information here. It seems like a critique. It says, not bad overall. I like the headline. It's a real grabber. But this photo montage is just too artsy for me. And I wouldn't really call that a montage. That'd be more like a collage. Montage is like how a series of shots depicting a lapse of time like you'd see in Rocky. But that's just a pet peeve. Anyway, moving on. Your front page will be a lot more striking if you just centralize on a single exciting visual instead of trying to dazzle your readers with special effects. And granted, this was what, 83, 84, maybe a little later. I can't remember the print date on it. But think about that. He just said, you'll get your readers excited trying to, with a good centralized focus instead of trying to dazzle your reader with special effects. So, going meta, they didn't need to do a polybag. They didn't need to do a foil. They didn't need to do 52 variants, including store exclusives, artist website, 1/20,000th of 100th exclusive, blah, blah, blah. This was the book. And now, I have foil. And I'm sure there have been other reprints, but who cares? Let's get into this story. I just love that little peck. I started reading that and it just made me laugh. And one thing, I noticed that a lot of comics, like modern comics, don't do this anymore. But I miss that when they would actually show like a paper. You could actually read parts of the headline and you could feel like you're getting more like world building in that regard. J. Jonah Jameson says, why didn't you use any photos by Peter Parker? This sort of thing usually is his meat. I tried to call Pete a number of times in the past week, but he seems to be out of town. Now, what I like is how, J. Jonah is kind of critiquing what Robbie's doing here. He goes, you never once confronted the question of Spider-Man's involvement. Is he behind these disappearances? What does he hope to gain? And Robbie just says, slow down, Jonah. As the publisher of the Daily Bugle, you can replace me anytime you choose. But as long as I'm the editor-in-chief here, I'm going to run this newspaper my way. If you want to keep persecuting Spider-Man, you'll have to do it on the editorial page and not in my headlines. Is that understood? I still wonder how Spider-Man mixed up in all of this. And then we kind of get an idea of where everyone's mindset is. Like when you read these headlines, it talks about how crime has exponentially increased because all the heroes in New York are missing. But then we get Homecoming, which is very apt for, kind of like what they're calling the new Spider-Man movies, which I will admit, and let me know if I'm wrong about how they're saying, Far From Home, Homecoming, Brand New Day. It's just kind of like, can we stop? Can we stop with the things in the movies? Because I'm at this point, like I know Brand New Day is coming out, I don't care. I was more excited to read this than watch a trailer. But that's just me. Let me know. love this because they just make this very dynamic as Peter's jumping out of the portal from Battle World with Kurt Connors, and he goes, "Hang on, Doc Connors, I think we're going to make it this time." And then everyone's just shocked in the middle of Central Park. This is Roger Stern plotting. This is Tom DeFalco script. Ron Frenz doing the pencils breakdowns. Britt Bredding doing the finished art. Joe Rosen doing the letters. Glynis Wein colors. And then Danny Fingeroth was the editor, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. We did it. We really did it. Hey, buddy, if you got any left, liquid left in that thermos, my friend and I could sure use a drink. We've been traveling a long time. And so rather than, needing some sort of big shot, grab your attention, it's just them jumping through the portal and taking a moment. And then Peter goes, "Everything is going to be fine now. We're really back home." And I just realized we really are back home. And he just does this awesome flip, just excited to be home. And what's interesting is no one realizes who this guy is. Like he jumps down and he goes, who are you anyway? Me? I'm Spider-Man. And I'm real glad to know you. Huh? Cut the wise comedy act. We've all seen Spider-Man before, and you don't look a thing like him. We want some answers now. Careful with that quick draw. We don't want it to accidentally go off and hurt someone. And again, I love how, just like with Venom, how the thwip was on the top. It was just a really cool concept. Now, before we can get any further in the Secret Wars, we see the Avengers start to come back. But that's it. Then we focus on Peter returning Connors to his family. And then he goes, "Can it be? Do my eyes deceive me? Is this really the bathroom skylight which opens to the home of that celebrated, world-famous, galaxy-hopping freelance photographer Peter Parker? So it is, so it is. Ah, the room has a desperate need for fresh air. A case, at the very least." And so he's home, trying to catch up with everybody. And he's still getting used to the concept of how, because remember, when we went over Secret Wars, which I'll try to remember to leave the card up here, Peter's red and blue uniform was destroyed during the battle. So he went to this thing where Thor recommended like a costume rebuilder. And he got a hold of this. So he thinks it's like some sort of like high-tech, like nanotechnology, because it responds to his commands. So he goes, "Hey, the costume's responding to my thought-agains. It knew that I wanted to change back to Peter Parker. So it transformed its outward appearance. Weird, it treats my every thought as a command." Now, that's about as much of like Battle World and all that we get, because now it's Peter trying to catch up on his life, because he's been gone for a good long time. He's trying to get a hold of Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, because right here in this issue, they are a couple. And I wish they would have kept that, because one thing that I will say, there's been writers that have written MJ real good. There's ones like Modern that I cannot stand her anymore, and if she died off, I would not break my heart. But anyway, at this point where we are now in 2026, I'd rather see Peter with Black Cat, or somehow, instead of giving us BS like what they did where we thought Gwen Stacy was going to come back and it was just an alien projecting his thoughts, if they brought Gwen Stacy back, kind of like how they did with House of M, I'd like to see him with Gwen. But the whole MJ thing, I'm over it. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm so tired of Mary Jane's that I want to scream. And even back here in the late 80s, Felicia wants to be able to fight at Peter's side. He tries to call her. She doesn't pick up. And still, I miss when she looked beautiful like this, man. And she didn't always act so haunty. Like nowadays, she reminds me more of Selena Kyle, where that's just kind of always been her shtick, where she's caring, but she always comes off very cocky. I don't remember Black Cat was always more teasing. And you actually got to see moments of her being vulnerable. So she sneaks into Pete's apartment. Spider, he doesn't seem to be home. Black Cat, she's a reformed cat burglar, gifted with incredible physical agility. She is also a woman very much in love with the Amazing Spider-Man. He's been gone for days. Where can he be? Why hasn't he tried to contact me? Why does he have to be gone now when I need him the most? I've got real problems. And again, I miss these thought bubbles, because look at how this is working. We get Peter's thoughts, we get the third person narration building up the scene, and then we get each character's thoughts instead of trying to get everything as a stupid text box. I miss this. This is how you made you care about every individual character while also caring about the whole over arc. She goes, I wanted to be the perfect partner for my spider. So I let some science boys conduct a few experiments on me. They managed to release and enhance some pretty funky latent super abilities that I never realized I had. But then I learned that the man responsible for my transformation was one of Spider's greatest enemies, the kingpin of crime. I'm sure the kingpin has something sinister up his oversized sleeve. He might even think he can use me against Spider-Man, but he's wrong. And so even though this issue really focuses on Peter trying to reacclimate to civilian life, for lack of a better term, we're starting to see where all the plot points are starting to fall into place. During Secret War, Reed said that no one should really burden the public with what they've been through because no one would believe about the Beyonder. And so Peter's thinking about he can make money selling the photos, just like he did with Spider-Man. He goes, oh, who am I trying to kid? Everyone will think these pictures are faked. Besides, Reed was right. We shouldn't burden the public with what happened to us out there. No one should have to live with the knowledge that, not even me, I'm going to destroy the prince and the negatives. While that happens, Peter can't sleep. And what I love is how I think at this point they didn't really know what to do with the suit. Like, because I remember, you know, there was things when Todd McFarlane took over Spider-Man, he wanted to get Peter out of the black suit because he said he didn't like it. But I love that they still give you little clues, like how Peter says maybe some web swinging will kind of help me sleep, and we start to see the symbiote's suit move like a specter, and it just completely engulfs him. But before we can have a moment to really think about what's going on here, we get this very heartwarming moment where this couple's fighting. Now, let me know if I'm wrong, but this made me laugh. So Peter hears this couple arguing. Shut up, Wheezy, I'm warning you. No, you lied to me, Justin. You made a promise to me and you lied. Now I'm wondering, this is, mid-'80s, late 80s. I'm wondering if this is a little in-house joke nod to Louise Simonson. Because back when she was Louise Jones and when she married Walter Simonson, everyone called her Wheezy, from what I understand. It was like a term of endearment from everyone. And it makes sense because if you go back and read, I can't remember the DC book's name, the first appearance of Swamp Thing, not the Alec Holland's Swamp Thing, but the one before, it was like House of Horrors or House of Secrets #1. And the girl on the cover, when she looks over her shoulder and sees that thing leering in the shadows, the model, from what I understand, that was a young Louise Jones. So I'm just wondering if they're using Wheezy here as like a way to kind of be like, haha, look at what we did, Louise. We put you in a book. Anyway, that aside, these two are just like the guy actually is almost ready to punch this girl because that's how bad they're fighting. Peter says, enough. Take a breather, kids. You're both behaving like idiots. It's stupid for you to be fighting, especially when you have so much going for you. Oh yeah, like what? Take a good look at this neighborhood, mister. Me and Wheezy live here and it stinks. We got nothing going on for us. And again, this is one thing, and I may be in the minority here, let me know. But it seems like after Superior Spider-Man, the first volume, when they brought Peter back, I feel like from there, moving forward, it just shows, and I will say Brand New Day, but it just feels like Marvel wants to hate Peter. Because back in the day, the reason everyone loved him is, yes, he was a badass, don't get me wrong. But why we have literal gods like Thor and then almost immortal guardians like Captain America, Peter Parker is a human being. Yes, he has superpowers, but he can be hurt. And he's like the heart. Everyone always looks to Peter because he's always so optimistic, no matter what's thrown at him. And it feels like that's missing. So he literally grabs these kids and just says, it's web swinging time. He goes, I want you to get a real bird's eye view of the city. Your city. Feel that cold night air? Doesn't it make you glad you're alive? And the dude's just like, sure, if you say so. Can we go home now? He goes, good. I'm not much of a speech maker, so I figured I'd let the city speak for itself. I realize the city isn't perfect. It has more than its share of rough edges. But there's a lot of real beauty down there, too. The city is like any living creature. It has the potential for incredible good or horrible evil. It's a part of you, kids. Whether you realize it or not, you'll always carry it with you. And so Peter's sharing, these little tidbits of, it's 1984, by the way, these little tidbits of knowledge, because being out on War World, away from those he loved, being in the thick of it, almost dying, he goes, this city's really, or what does he say? I want to make sure that I get this right. He goes, man, I don't know if that did more good for them or for me, but I feel even better than I did before. New York, you really know how to bring out the very best in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And this just, again, shows why, as much as we love the X-Men or Batman, we'll even tie in DC with that or stuff like that. This is why Peter has stood the test of time. Because Stan Lee has even said, and I'm sure Steve Ditko has, but, it's always been more focused on Lee. Peter was supposed to be just your average Joe with problems. And that's why everyone can relate to him and why we still want more stories of him. And I wish that modern writers would remember that. But anyway, guys, without trying to get too metaphysical and all that stuff, this is one of these comics that you need to have in your collection if you are a Marvel Comics or Spider-Man fan. It is a key issue on top of Secret Wars 8. And I do eventually need to get a Spider-Man 300. So if you guys have an extra that you wouldn't mind selling me or kicking my way and not break the bank, I would appreciate it, because I've looked everywhere and I don't want to pay $1,200 for it. So with that said, guys, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever you get your action figures and comics, and grab either this reprint or the original if you can afford it. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little thwip bell next, subscribe. That way, as we get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel. We love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down to the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. Additionally, if you enjoy what I do and you'd like to help support the channel, I have also left a PayPal tip jar link down in the description. And if not, I still appreciate you stopping by and checking out the video. Either way, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.